Make sure you check out our sponsor over at 714 Tickets. They take pride in providing their customers with transparent pricing and excellent service. With 714 Tickets, you don't have to worry about hidden fees or surprises at checkout. The price you see is the price you pay. Plus, their team is dedicated to ensuring that you have the best shopping experience possible. And as a special thank you, they're offering a 10% discount on your purchase, as well as entering you in a drawing for a free Halos jersey. Also, 5% cash back on your purchase. Only when you use the promotional code HEATY at checkout. That's HITI, HEATY. Get ready to shop with confidence and discover great deals today over at 714 Tickets.
Hey, welcome into another episode of Halos in the Infield, the podcast form. I am back, Todd Fox, the host of the show, along with the other two hosts of the show.
Fernando, the Lone Star Halo, who has to pretend like we haven't been trying to record for 30 minutes.
Way to throw us under the bus.
It's been an eventful 30 minutes, guys. Todd's internet isn't working.
Cut, no.
Don't have they're going to edit that out in post either.
No, I'm not.
Oh my gosh. And it's Courtney. It's Courtney, the trash Halo.
There you go. Residing from parts unknown in San Bernardino.
Yeah, yes. Probably for the best. The people in San Bernardino don't know where they are either. So
exactly. They're so high on meth. But moving on.
Oh no. In the Baker's parking lot.
Yep.
But moving on, we're going to talk about a lot of things. We're going to get into a little bit of a recap of Kansas City, even though we kind of did that on the last show that I wasn't on. They let me know the last time we tried to record. And then also we're going to talk about the Oakland series and then get into the big road trip, which goes through Milwaukee and also St. Louis before coming back here home, because May is going to be a tough effort as far as games to be played against and teams to be played against, as the Angels try to stay above 500 before April. So let's let you know if they did so. So again, you guys recap the Kansas City series. You guys got it right. You picked 2 out of 3 in both. You did the Rally Chris special. So now what happened in the Oakland series?
Well, Courtney and I predicted 3 out of 4. Our inner Halo honk shined because the Angels won 3 out of 4, which means we had a winning homestand, guys.
Correct.
We did. I know. I was so shocked that we could even pull that out, especially because tonight, we almost lost it. I was about to lose my shit if we really blew, like, what was it, an 8-2 lead? Like, there was no way that should have been an 8-7 win. We won. I understand we won, but can we just not make it not look as scary next time? That would be great. Thank you.
Yeah. You know, and one of the biggest reasons, and I don't want to get too into it because I know we're going to talk about it later, is Quijada. I can't believe, he went from being one of our best relievers to, I don't know about this guy anymore.
Thanks.
Yeah, not so good. We'll break into that. But another pitcher that I think we touched on a little bit prior to this was the Suarez thing.
Yeah, that was the transition I was going to use. Speaking of pitchers.
Because that's a guy I was honking up since preseason. I thought this guy would turn the page. He would turn into a starter that, that some of us think he could have that kind of depth in the rotation, me being one of them. And boy, oh boy, did he shit the bed in this start against Oakland. And Courtney, what did he do against 2 particular players?
I think it is just an amazing stat to have, to where you really sit there and give up back-to-back home runs to the same 2 people twice. Like that, that is unfathomable. I am baffled. I am speechless. Round of applause for you, Suarez, because I never thought there could ever be a worse stat than that against the Angels rotation. And you took it upon yourself to just really stick it to him. I love it.
Brava. El Demente with the letter L.
Yeah.
El demoted.
Quick, fast, and
as his boy, who's he was honking harder than a honk could possibly be honked. Man, I mean, 7 earned runs. This boy got lit up like a firecracker on 4th of July. This boy got lit up like that one Katy Perry song, Firework. And
Definitely. And I mean, he gave it up to people in the lineup where you don't even know the names of. Again, like you get
yeah,
people like Langoliers. Langoliers. I will say that is a fun name to say once you figure it out. But like,
no. Hey, remember the Oakland A's, they have Johnny Damon, right? And they have David Justice,
Oh, yeah.
and they have God, what's that? Mark McGuire. They have that cat.
Coco Crisp, yeah.
Coco Chris.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh,
They have some guys. They have a little bit of talent. Well, hell, don't they still have Mike Piazza back there?
I think so. Jeez. I mean, that damn lineup, that's one of the most pure lineups in baseball. And
But I'm
Suarez,
saying,
I don't even know how Suarez stood a chance.
Langoliers sounds like either a Muppet or a bad Stephen King movie.
yeah, it also sounds like the worst version of shingles. Like an older person might have shingles. Well, they have Langoliers.
Yeah.
Oh God. Oh, are they okay?
Yeah, it sounds like one of those the deep south type what do you call it, diseases, like, oh no, Bob's got the Langoliers.
Yeah, it sounds like I need to get vaccinated for it immediately.
Yeah, exactly.
I suggest you all do the same. Langoliers, no thanks.
It sounds like one of those things that's going to come out with like a commercial maybe in like 5 years. Have you ever taken like so-and-so a prescription? Well, you may have Langoliers. Like
we're participating in this nationwide lawsuit. Make sure to call this phone number if you are a victim of Langoliers.
If you've been exposed to Langoliers.
Oh man.
this poor guy.
It sounds like a Blumhouse movie that just got a 3% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
Langoliers the clown.
Oh my gosh.
We're gonna get a cease and desist order with this guy.
I know, right? He's all, I have a family heritage.
Yeah, of course you do. You should see my family crest.
Oh man.
I can't breathe.
This man's a catcher who's batting 217. It sounds like he's got Langoliers, aka shingles.
Yeah. He's gonna be on the IL before you know it.
All right. Well, as long as it's not with Langoliers, I don't wish that of my worst enemies. Except Pete Soto.
Oh.
Oh my god.
It's like, hey, does it burn when you pee? Yeah, it does. You may have the Langoliers.
Oh, no. Dude, we lost like half our audience. Thank you to our sponsor, 714 Tickets.
Yes.
Use code HITI at checkout, HITI for 10% off. Hey, we helped charity last week. We bought ourselves a couple of points before we did the whole deeper into hell.
Yeah.
Fine. We'll be fine.
Yeah, that's not the reason I'm going to hell.
No.
But let's get back on track here. Oakland is not the best team, is basically what we're saying. If your superstar is Langoliers, you're in trouble. And they literally don't have much of a team around them. They're supposed to be a historically bad team this year with the most losses in all of Major League Baseball. As they went into the series with just 4 wins. They leave it, thankfully, with 5. But they're 5-21 after this series. Angels take 3 of 4, but that first game was a punch in the gut, and we were like, please don't lose anymore.
For them only having 5 wins, I'm still mad that two of their wins is us.
Yeah.
Can we just please let that sink in? Like, this is a historically bad team, and we lost to them on opening day of all things, and then we lost to them again. So
They got 20% of their wins from us.
Yeah. So I just, just food for thought. Just want to put that out there.
And Tyler Wade's a part-time starter on that team.
Yeah, and I think Duffy too. I think I seen Duffy out there. That was
he's on
He's on the Royals.
Oh, I was like, I seen Duffy somewhere. That was nice.
Yeah, get your stuff together.
Sorry. Been a long
yeah, it's all right. You got Langolier brain.
Yeah.
No.
I don't know, man. I'll say this. Say what you want about this Athletics lineup not being good. I mean, they scored a pretty decent amount of runs, all things considered, this entire series.
Absolutely. They did a lot of things. They hit the ball a lot harder than I thought they were, and I thought they were going to do. I thought that they were going to be like Detroit, like barely hitting it out of the infield, or Washington. They really tore the cover off the ball, and we robbed them of a few home runs as well. I mean, there could have been some bigger plays. There could have been a grand slam that first night too. I mean, we went into extra innings and lost that game again, like we do every extra inning game. So yeah, Oakland was definitely playing much better than they had played prior. I think Tampa Bay had destroyed them right before we saw them. So yeah, I mean, it was definitely disappointing that first night because you kind of felt like crap. We can't get into a rut this entire series versus such a bad team.
Yeah, and I
Oh,
definitely think like food for thought. I'm sorry, Fernanda,
no,
but
yeah.
like I think one thing that Oakland does, they for the most part, they almost stick to fundamental baseball as far as stealing bases.
Mm-hmm.
And like stealing bases, just trying not to do too much with what's given. Like it's just very basic what Oakland is doing. And I think there was a post that came out that the Oakland A's actually have more hits than the Yankees as of right now. It definitely doesn't show for it, because obviously with like a 5-17 record or something like that. But to really be out hitting the Yankees right now, like that, the bomber Bronx or whatever, like Bronx Bombers, there we go, Jesus. That but I think that's still good, just goes to show like they're still sticking to fundamental baseball, even though their record may not show it right now at this time. And I think maybe we can even take a page or two out of their handbook when it comes to base stealing. That's just me.
I forgot what I know we were talking about. Oh, here we go. Yeah, 166 Yankees total hits this season, 171 A's total hits this season. Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, and then you have as far
That
as
was
the
like 2 days ago. That
Yeah,
was
it was 2 days ago, so it probably changed.
and as far as stolen bases, Oakland had 4 in one game by Ruiz, and we have 2 guys that have 2 as our lead team leaders,
Love to see it.
Shohei and Brett Phillips.
Yep.
So that's pretty bad. It just goes to show you Oakland's going to try to steal bases a lot, and at least they're like she said, they're doing the fundamentals, which I
Hey,
wish the Angels would do.
At least you're telling me that they did something. That Brett Phillips is doing something. He's stealing bases because as of right now, man, he's just the designated vibes guy.
Well, I mean, nobody puts a samurai hat on a player that's just hit a home run like Brett Phillips. Let's just be honest.
It is graceful.
Yeah, it's true.
It's the most graceful way of putting that samurai hat on. Jesus, I can't believe we signed $7 million for that. I love it.
We paid $1 million for that, right?
Oh, 1 million. Yes, that's a lot.
I know.
Hey, the vibes are good though. The vibes are good.
Yeah, and you can always get a Brett Phillips autograph because he autographs anything and everything.
He really does.
Which is awesome, by the way. I mean, I have mine over here, and we're still probably going to give it out to somebody, but nobody wanted it. So,
well, with that being said, that game 1 loss kind of put us back in a damper. We went under a game 500 at that point. But then the next game was who? Was the Angels versus Oakland again, game 2. Who was starting on the mound?
we weren't going to go on any rants about that Suarez game. Well, I mean, we're so far removed from that game. I think we've all kind of moved on. We're also, I was pissed off that night, man.
I want to get into the Todd and Randy debates about Trout.
Oh yeah, let's not do that, please. I'm admittedly over that debate. Game 2 was Griffin Canning coming back. This is his 3rd start, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Post injury. It was his first win since, I believe, 2021. Pitched 5 innings, gave up 4 hits, 3 runs, all of them earned, walked 2, struck out 7, and his ERA is now 4.11 on the young season for him. And the Angels won 5-3.
Yeah, not a dominating performance by any stretch of the imagination, but he kept the ball down, kept the Angels in the lead, and they got the run when they needed to. And to extend the lead, I think to 5-3, it was 4-3. They were catching up, and they put the game away, and it was nice to see. That was a total team effort right there. I thought the Angels played well in that game to get back to 500.
It was a good bounce back after getting their heart broken on Monday.
Yeah, definitely. I think sometimes with our team, I don't know if we take like losses well. And that may sound silly to say, but it's just like when you lose an extra innings, you're just like, oh, bro, like, you know, what could somebody have done, you know? And I think, or at least I would hope, like our boys have that mentality of like, dang, you know what? Like if one person just would have did this, or, you know, maybe if one person should have done this instead of this. But like sometimes like having a loss, especially to a team like Oakland, in extra innings sometimes doesn't go over well. And I think that was my fear, especially with Canning starting the next day. Obviously not anything against Canning. It's just that would the team support him? So I think it was good just having our lineup, thankfully, push in enough runs to have Canning get that win. I would still like to see more runs because we have the lineup to do it, but I would definitely like to see more runs, especially against weaker teams. But again, that's just me. I digress.
Yeah, that would set us up for game 3. As you know, we wanted more runs against a bad team, like you said, and we got them the next night. And it was Sandy, and her man was on the mound. Courtney's man was on the mound. And to be honest, you know, he didn't have that killer instinct look, whether it was Oakland or not. He got into a little trouble, threw a lot more pitches than he wanted to. But he settled down and he pitched, I believe, into the 7th inning. And it was a clear-cut win. I mean, when he left, it was 8-3. And then Ohtani went deep. So, I mean, they wound up blowing him out in a game where you thought that was going to be the result in the first 2 games.
Oh, you're muted.
We've talked already a couple times about Patrick Sandoval being disrespected overall for his career, because this guy consistently does not get run support. I mean, this guy's been pitching for years at the major league level and pitching well, and he's barely cracked double-digit career win totals. I think this is like career win number 12, 13, it's something like
12.
that. Pretty damn low, man. For a pitcher who is, you know, a very, very, very talented pitcher. We're not talking about a middle of the pack guy. We're not talking about a Jose Suarez type guy. We're talking about, you know, Patrick Sandoval, a guy who has the ability to be a number 2, number 3 starter on most rotations in Major League Baseball. And luckily, he finally got some run support. You know, you can say what you want about like, oh, well, you know, it's April. Oh, well, it's the Athletics. Let's not get too confident. And yeah, all that's absolutely true. But you're supposed to be beating teams like the A's, who have 5 wins by a margin like this, or at least by a comfortable margin, not by what happened Monday. You know, a team like the A's shouldn't be scoring 10 runs in a game or 11 runs. They should be scoring 3 runs, maybe 2, maybe 1.
Yeah, definitely. And I think Sandoval getting that run support definitely helps. Even though, you know, he got into some trouble that, you know, first inning, I definitely wasn't concerned. Of course, it's not like his all-star start, you know, it's not a surefire start for him. The only thing I was concerned about was just him having that run support. You know, because I know that guy has passion. I know he has heart. To have him have so many, not like, just he doesn't have any wins for how long he's been pitching. I personally gained a lot more respect for him, especially seeing him pitch for Team Mexico in the WBC. Thought that was great. Love him. You know, I can somewhat see the fire die down from that, but I still think he still has a lot to offer for our rotation. I still think he should be a more respected pitcher, just not for our organization, but MLB in general. I was just glad that he finally had that run support. Ohtani, I think, got the 3-run bomb finally, just kind of put that nail in the coffin. So that was great. You know, because we were waiting for him to hit the right side of the barn. And so that was fun. That was a fun game for once.
Yeah, and we'll talk about some more contributors in this series as we move on here, because we're going to get into today's game, which was pretty damn.
Could we touch on one thing real quick before we move on from this game? Let's talk about Chase Silseth coming up.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Chase Silseth came up. He only pitched 2 innings, but I mean, you know, he was able to preserve the bullpen, right? I mean, Sandoval went 7 innings. Silseth finished it off. And I mean, that was good to see. His velo was up. A lot of people were concerned because his velocity was down in the minors this year. He was in the 94s, 95 range, but he was pumping in 97, 98 consistently here.
Yeah, the only problem was they were kind of hitting him at first. He was missing his spots, so he looked kind of rusty. I didn't like the fact they're going to bring a guy who's been starting in the minors the last 2 years now in as reliever. I thought that was a major stupid move. And the fact that also, if you're going to make the move with Silseth, put Suarez in the pen, move Silseth to the rotation. It just and the fact that they're not pitching guys back to back games was just
Yes.
insane. And
Yeah.
we saw that Estevez said, "Hey, you know what?" He walked over to Nevin and said, "If I'm ready, go with my gut. I'll pitch."
Yeah.
So he's probably the first one to come out and stand up and be a leader and say, "You know what, dude? I don't agree with your guys' philosophy." And hopefully more pitchers take that angle, because this one day on, one day off stuff is not going to work.
No, it's already not working. I mean, I heard the argument was that Phil Nevin said that last year the Angels had a good bullpen in April, and then when May, June rolled around, the guys started to get gassed, and he wants to avoid that. But it's like, these guys are major league pitchers. If you want to make a rule like they don't pitch more than 2 or 3 days in a row, okay, I get that. Especially after 3 days, 3 high leverage days, okay, maybe that's when you have an option B for a closer. It's Estevez, and then maybe on that 4th day, we'll go with somebody else. But these guys are major league pitchers, man. You got to let them pitch. That's what they're here for.
Yeah, I'm not understanding the load management that we're trying to do. It's like we're already treating them like they're hurt. Or like we're already treating them like it's a rehab assignment or something, and I'm not understanding why. I definitely don't agree with one day on, one day off, like especially for our bullpen or for our closer even. I mean that's your goddamn job. Like that's your job. Like you're supposed to be, that end of relief, or you're supposed to be the closer. And obviously, if you do your job well, you should be able to get, 3 outs. If anything, you're not facing more than 4 batters, and that's with a mistake. You really need to tell me you can't handle 4 batters in a 24-hour time span? Like, that's ridiculous. I understand they're major league players. I understand that given our history, we're trying to avoid injuries as much as we can. But at the same time, what are we paying them to do? And we have a training staff, obviously you go get ice, you go get stretched, you go do whatever treatment you're supposed to be doing. That way you are ready the next day. I definitely don't agree with this load management shit that's happening, because that's whack. That is so whack. I'm not understanding why we're doing that.
It's trash.
It's very trash.
Estevez literally, I believe that if he was available in that first game against Oakland, we win that game. Jaime was called in to do a situation he was not used to. Andrew Wantz was asked to close, which he's never done before. And then you literally throw Estevez 6 pitches on Sunday versus the Royals and say he's not available, and that you're doing everything to avoid using him that night. It's like, bro, his arm's not going to fall off. He threw more pitches probably warming up than he did in the actual game. So what are you doing? And then correct me if I'm wrong. One more thing on what Nevin said, following up for what Fernando said, as far as burning out our bullpen last year and that 14-game losing streak and all that crap. I tend to remember us losing those games because we couldn't score, not because we couldn't pitch. We weren't blowing leads because we couldn't score to get a lead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The more I think lately, like, I feel like the bulk of the Angels' last couple seasons, their lack of success has resulted because of bad back end of the bullpen. But last year, pitching wasn't the issue. We said that ad nauseum last year. It was the offense. In 2020, when the Angels missed this, it came down to the final series where we needed to sweep the Dodgers. The Angels had the most blown saves that year out of every team in Major League Baseball. So they didn't have a closer back then. 2021, I feel like, was a very similar song and dance. The back end of the bullpen wasn't great. And then, last year they had a pretty decent pitching staff. It wasn't amazing, but it was serviceable. Their starting rotation was great. Their bullpen was, average to, slightly above average to slightly below average. But at the end of the day, it wasn't a pitching situation last year. It was lack of run support.
Yeah, it's definitely lack of run support. And I think it's more of just not knowing your role. And I don't know if it's just because obviously Nevin was our interim manager halfway through the year. But I feel like at a certain point, especially when you get to after the All-Star break, you have a role. You know your role. So you should have your lights out closer. You should have your guy that you throw in the 8th. You should have your guy that you throw in the 7th. And that's it. Like, that is the role that you're supposed to be playing. It doesn't change or alternate from that unless that, of course, injury, knock on wood, or, of course, the guy has already thrown 2 or 3 games in a row. Then that's when you have your B options or whatever. But other than that, I really don't think after May going into June and July, we should not have these situations to where, we're throwing in Wance instead of Moore, or, we take out Moore too soon because a left-handed batter's up. Like, I don't agree with that philosophy. You have your role, and that's what you stick to until you genuinely fuck up that role so bad to where you're just like, you know what? No, now we have to try to put you somewhere else. Like, but other than that, once you solidify your role, like if we're going to have, Moore be our 7th and 8th inning guy, let him be. It doesn't matter who's coming up. It doesn't matter if it's a righty, lefty, righty. Like, just leave it be. And then if he gets into trouble, okay, now you start warming up somebody else. Let it be. But I almost think we're doing too much moving around right now. I don't know if it's just because it's April, we're trying to see who has what, but I definitely don't agree with it. It's not sitting right with me.
I think it's a double-edged sword because there's also times where Phil Nevin leaves guys in too long, like the Jose Suarez thing. Like, there was, when it was just a home run, show, it was just like, what is this guy still doing out there?
Mm-hmm.
And by the end, it was like, okay, all right, he's starting to settle down. All right. But it's like, even the final game with Ohtani, when he was giving up 5 earned runs, yeah, he settled in after that. But there was a little while there where I was like, bro, we got to get Ohtani out of there. This guy is getting lit up.
Yeah, it's going to go into what we were talking about here today, because today's game on the post game, I said it was a roller coaster of a game. It felt like, it was going to be over in 2 hours and 20 minutes. It wound up lasting about almost 3.5 because, again, the game was going at a fast pace till the 3rd inning, and the Angels, a guy that we're going to talk about probably when this series is over is Brendan Drury, hit a 3-run homer to cap off a 5-run inning. And you're thinking, okay, Ohtani's going to go back out there. He shined the first 3 innings. He's going to put up another 0, and we're going to cruise to a victory. And he immediately, like Fernando says, gives up. He looked like he hadn't pitched all day, and he was getting shellacked. It was hard hit balls. Renfroe missed a home run catch, and before you know it, it's 5-5. And he nearly gave up the lead by the time the inning was over. He was probably one bat away from getting pulled right there. But credit the Angels that came back with a couple runs, got another tack-on run, and then it looked like, things were going good. Quijada comes in there, and he gets into some trouble, and then all of a sudden Renifo just has to make one play. Whoops, an error, and 2 runs scored, and Loop almost boxed in a run. And before you know it, the Angels had to go to Estevez after Loop got out of the jam, and by a nice play by Rendon, and Estevez shuts the door on Oakland, and they get the series win.
You brought up Rengifo. Let's talk about him real quick. Through 67 at-bats, he has 13 hits. One of those was a home run, 8 RBIs. He's stolen 2 bases, so he's, up there in the team lead. He's got a 194 batting average. However, one positive, he's got an on-base percentage of .333. So he's very clearly still getting on base. He obviously had that error that could have been way costlier if he wasn't bailed out by some teammates today.
Yep.
What's your opinion on Luis Rengifo so far this year? Is he cooked? Because I was the one all offseason saying that I wasn't sold on Luis Rengifo. Todd was also on the Rengifo bandwagon over there, along with Jose Suarez.
So you're calling me out, huh?
Yeah, your honk was showing.
Yeah, your honk's been showing everywhere, Todd.
You need to keep your honk in your pants.
Hey, my honk gets around.
Oh no! Oh no!
Hopefully your fiance doesn't listen to this episode.
I know.
Got around to her, and that's where it stopped. Let's just put it that way.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, that's the hope, right?
Yeah.
You hear that? Todd admits he was honking around.
Yeah, that's the truth, and I stand by it. All right, what were you saying now, Courtney? Let's get off of my honk here for a minute.
I think Renhefo, I really think I'm hoping it's just a slump. I would still like to see Renhefo, up with the Angels. I don't think we should send him down. I don't think necessarily he should be a starter. I'm very curious just to see what his role is, because quite honestly, again, like I guess I don't know, I'm a role person. Like I feel like you have your role, and I understand having utility players. I think he started in all the outfield already, like just this series alone. I don't know, because I know we kind of moved him around.
I think he was in
um
right field, one of those games. Yeah.
yeah, he was like in right field this series, and I think we started him in left somewhere else. Like, and I think I, I know they're Major League Baseball players. I know these are grown ass men. You should be able to adapt, but I mean, at the end of the day, like I don't know, you practice a position because you're trying to master it. You're trying to master and perfect it. And I feel like we haven't given Renhefo that chance to do that, at least personally. Because we kind of keep moving him around. Um, I don't know if that's supposed to be his role. Like he's just the fill-in guy. Like, if someone's hurt or if someone's taking an off day, hey, just throw Renhefo out there. He'll figure it out. If that's the case, hey, that's on him. I think that kind of blows. But um, as far as like his hitting mechanics, I feel like honestly he could use some adjustments, but I really think I would like to see him use his speed, even though his short little legs can only get him so far so fast. He is actually one of our faster runners. I would like to see him use the whole field. Don't try to do too much with your swing. Don't try to do too much with the pitch. If it's a outside pitch, go oppo. I'm not, just throw your hands out there. If of course if it's inside, then turn on it. Even lay down a bunt every once in a while. But his on base percentage obviously is great, because obviously in order to get runs, you need to get on base. So that's half the battle already, and looks like he's kind of figured that out. But as far as his hitting, I'm still concerned with his hitting.
I think when you look at Renifo, he can be a player that can crack the lineup every now and then or every other day. You try to get him in there as much as possible because, like you said, the on base percentage with all the walks. But I will say this, that he's come up a little short, no pun intended, when it comes to like runners in scoring position. Not as bad as somebody else on the team, but I will say this, that when Walsh comes back, the two floating positions on this team will come down to one. And the floating positions means, Renifo can either fill in center field or left field or right field. He could play second. He could play short. The same thing is with Brendan Drury. He could play first, second, short, even third. You could put him in the outfield if you wanted to. I think one of those floating positions now with the series that Drury had, I think is held for him now. Renifo will be the guy who's going to lose a lot of playing time once Walsh returns to the lineup, in my opinion.
Yeah, I could see him being, the odd man out for losing a little bit of time. I don't know, I mean, Drury's hot right now. You can't take Drury out. Urshela's been having a good season. You can't take Urshela out. Walsh is going to get the benefit of the doubt when he is finally able to come here because, he was an all-star before. And, Renhefo has been a flash in the pan. He's had a couple of times where he caught lightning in a bottle, but overall, he hasn't made it last consistently in the major leagues. And, because of that, naturally, he has to be the odd man out.
Yeah, and he could be a valuable trade piece down the line, too.
He very well could be.
Yeah, and I think Nevin still holds. I mean, I would hope not. These are grown ass men, but I feel like Nevin kind of felt some type of way with Renhefo going to play for Venezuela, and then he didn't play for the WBC because that was obviously valuable time. I mean, you can't predict your playing time, especially in the WBC, but it's that knowing what we know now, Renhefo could have stayed in spring training. And obviously that could have been more valuable time, and benefited him more than obviously sitting the bench for Venezuela. So
Courtney, he learned so much from Jose Altuve. That's what he said.
That cheater, yeah, I bet.
Well, let me ask you guys this question.
Okay.
As far as hot angels, speaking of Drury, Which of the two Angels between Drury and Renfro did you see this coming from? Did you see either one of these guys or both of them at this point where they are right now? Because it looks like Renfro's got 7 homers, 20 RBIs, and I think what is it? Drury's got like 5 home runs, 14 or 15 RBIs already. I mean, did you expect this from both of these guys?
Renfro, yes. Drury, no, not yet. I thought Drury was going to be a solid signing, but I thought he was going to be nothing more than just above average depth.
Mm-hmm.
Renfro, I've watched play. I've seen enough of his, potential to know that it's there and it exists. But yeah, I was excited about getting Renfro in the first place. I mean, he's going to be one of the team leaders in RBIs. He'll be in the 90 to 110 ballpark in terms of RBIs. And everyone's been saying he's a 30 home run guy. So,
Do we re-sign him?
Yes.
do we re-sign him? Yeah, that's going to be a question of the day soon for sure.
I honestly did not expect that much out of Renfro. I definitely didn't think he was going to suck. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that he was going to suck. I just was not expecting the way for him to be as hot as he is right now. Drury, I had more hope for just because he came from the Padres. Obviously he came in clutch for the Padres for the most part, especially when it came to the playoffs. So I think I just expected more out of him given the environment that he came from. So for me, I was actually not surprised that this is coming out of Drury. I've been more surprised with Renfro. So I was the opposite of Fernando.
I was just gonna say real quick that Renfro, like out looking at his numbers, like Fernando said, he's been very consistent. I figured he would put up a 28 and 79 with this, and that'd be good. But like you said, he's on pace to put up some career numbers. And then Drury started out pretty dreadful, and now he's on fire. So I'm very excited about these two guys.
You know who I was excited about? Seeing Tyler Wade play.
Oh my God.
Dude, his batting average is .077.
Perfect. He'd fit right in here.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, what do you guys think about the great debate? As far as us winning on this, we played inferior opponents. The last time we talked as a collective group, we thought that Trout and Ohtani need to get it going with runners in scoring position. They're setting up the bottom of the lineup to drive them in, which is what's happening with Drury and Urshela and Neto and those guys and Renfro. They're all driving those guys in, but it seems like when the opposite is there, the bottom of the order setting up the top guys, even Ward. Ward isn't knocking in these runs. He's doing a little bit better job than Ohtani and Trout is, but he's not really doing the job either. But are you guys concerned that in a series versus very mediocre pitching, Trout for 2 or 3 of those 7 games where the lineup was killing it from top to bottom, he got an offer?
I will say I'm extremely tired of this debate. If I had $1 for every time I heard Randy and Todd bitch to each other about Trout being clutch or not clutch, and this is on both sides of the party here, I would have enough money for my hair to look just like John Stamos' hair. Todd, I'm tired of this argument on both sides of the spectrum. I'll say this. Trout was not coming in clutch this series. I want Trout to succeed. I need Trout to succeed. If Trout does not succeed, in these big game situations, the 8th, 9th inning, when he's got bases loaded, things like that, then this team's going to be in trouble. They're going to continue to not make the playoffs because Trout's the kind of guy you look at. And Ohtani, for the bulk, we were having the same argument. He came up clutch with that 3-run shot, the second to last game of this series, to kind of pat the lead there. But overall, man, I mean, those are 2 guys you consistently need to come through. Those are the dudes. They get paid to be the dudes. And more often than not, they don't come up with the hit. Notice I never say the home run. I don't need my clutch guy to be a home run hitter. Slap a ball in the gap. It doesn't matter to me.
True. Courtney?
Yeah, first of all, can we please define the definition of clutch, because if there's people calling Ohtani's 3-run home run with an 8-3 lead clutch, you guys are stupid baseball fans. That is not clutch. We're already winning.
Thanks
That's
for
not
saying that to me.
sorry, but that's not my definition of clutch. Clutch is like, oh, we're tied. It's 5-5. And then, he hits the go-ahead double, or, or hell, even if you want to call it the go-ahead home run or whatever, but not, oh, this is the 3-run home run now we're going to get into mercy rule runs. Like, no, that's not clutch, at least not to me. As far as the entire debate goes, I don't, and I have never believed that Trout is clutch when it comes to his hitting. I have never believed that. I understand that he makes amazing plays in center field. He's, we've all seen the historical picture of him bringing a ball back in center field. We love it. We love to see it. I do not think that man is clutch. Not to say that he is not a great player, not to say that he sucks, but that man is not clutch. Now, I will say having him in the number 2 spot in the lineup is not helping. Because I was a softball player myself, 1 through 9 lineup. I feel like each role, at least your 1, 2, and 3 guys, they have a role. Your leadoff is supposed to get on base. Your second spot is actually supposed to be sacrificing himself to get your leadoff over in a perfect world, ideal world.
Mm-hmm.
And then your third batter drives in the RBI, and your fourth batter. So at least in the spot, if we're going to keep him at number 2, it's going to be very hard for Trout to get the RBIs that we're looking for, at least early in the game. Of course, later in the game, and our 7, 8, and 9 guys get on, then yes, obviously he has those opportunities. But in the perfect ideal world, your leadoff gets on, your 2 batter is actually sacrificing himself to get your leadoff over. At least that's the way I was taught. It could be different in a man world, but
yeah, go ahead.
But other than that, I think I am concerned about Trout's hitting. And I think a lot of us are basing his greatness and popularity on just that, his popularity of what he used to be. And I think we're going to be at the cusp right now. Like right now, he should hypothetically be in his peak. But this man has also been in the league for 10 years now. I think we're on the cusp of seeing him digress. And not to say bad in a bad way, but he's about to be tailing off sometime soon. I don't want that to happen, but he is getting hypothetically older in MLB standards, or at least to me.
Yeah, Father Time's undefeated.
Yep.
And then Ohtani, on the other hand, I haven't liked his hitting ever since the WBC. I think he's trying to develop some type of slap style like Ichiro, and he's not Ichiro. Ohtani has a lot of power. Use it. Stand in the box. For some reason, he keeps trying to walk out. He's walking out of the box before the pitch before the catcher even has the pitch sometimes.
Yeah.
And I'm not understanding where or how he developed that. If you don't stand in that goddamn box, what are you doing? And I honestly feel like that's why some umpires give him a strike 3 call, just because he's already walking out. It doesn't even matter where that ball is thrown. Clearly, it can't be in the actual dirt. But if you're already walking out, I feel like as an umpire, low key, that's disrespectful. I'm going to call you. I'm going to strike you out if you're trying to walk out on me. So I definitely think some more hitting mechanics need to be taught to Ohtani, or somebody needs to try to get through to him.
Sometimes I wonder how much more power he could have if he actually kept his feet planted in the box and he didn't, try running as he swung like Ichiro used to. By the way, I pulled up the dictionary.com definition of clutch for sports. So obviously the word clutch is a slang term. I need to preface that. Okay, clutch refers to something done, in parentheses, well, in critical situation, such as clutch play in sports that pushes a team into victory. Clutch can characterize something as excellent or effective. So according to the dictionary definition, it needs to push a team into victory.
Well, I'll have to chime in on that real quick. I'll compare it to two other sports.
Okay.
In basketball, LeBron James was criticized for the most part of his early career, including up to I think year 8, where it was, man, he can score you 36, 46 points, but when he doesn't want the ball at the end, like he's not clutch. Like whenever you've seen LeBron nail a three, and it took him a while before he started coming up with some clutch shots. And then in football, you'll see quarterbacks that, hey man, if you got the lead, he'll hold on to it for you. But if you're asking him to come back, he's just not capable of that. He's not a clutch quarterback at the end of the game. So that's what my whole point was always on the message boards, was like after the 7th inning and you need a run or two, and he comes up with 1 or 2 chances with runners in scoring position, more often than not, he does not get that hit. Now in the 4th and 5th innings, when he jacks a grand slam or a 3-run homer or a 2-run double, yeah, he'll give you a lot of that. We've seen his career's filled with that.
Yep.
But past the 7th, 8th, and 9th innings, man, I could probably name him on one hand where he's actually come through.
He's very good at extending innings late in games. He's very good at getting on base. His on base percentage, in those situations is elite. I sent you the numbers. In terms, there's not a lot of like walk-off hits and home runs that I remember coming from Michael Nelson Trout. You want to talk about a player who was clutch. You and I talked about this on the phone off air, Todd. Albert Pujols was great in clutch situations. The guy hardly ever struck out. And obviously we're talking primarily about his Cardinals career. But even as an Angel, man, if the game was on the line, the bottom of the 9th inning, and Pujols was coming up and his job was to either drive some runs in or extend the inning, he would almost never strike out.
Yep.
He would ground out into many double plays, sure, but at the end of the day, this is baseball. You have to hit the ball to give yourself a chance, and Pujols was very good at hitting the ball in those situations. To no avail, sure, but at the end of the day, you have a better chance of driving in a run if you make contact than if you strike out looking.
I agree. And one other guy I'll say that was, to me, most clutch Angel of all time that I could remember, or at least in my time, I would have to say Vladimir Guerrero, and there's a reason why he's in the Hall of Fame. There's so many, amazing playoff hits that he had, comeback home runs, 12 RBIs in a game. The guy was phenomenal, and that's a guy you wanted up there in the because he was like what you said. He put the ball in play. He would hit into double plays every now and then, but dude still put the ball in play and was a tough ass out. And again, he didn't stand there and take strike 3 either.
Yeah, and I will say, since we've brought up T.O. Pujols, is one thing that I noticed. Yes, he came in clutch in certain situations for us, but I think one thing that obviously we were basing his contract off of and his performance was obviously young Pujols, Cardinals Pujols. Was he deserving of the entire, what was it, 10-year deal or whatever we gave him? Absolutely not. But I noticed, especially towards the end of his career, where Pujols, whether it was intentionally his mentality or not, it was more of his own personal stats, as far as his 3,000th hit,
Stat padding.
The home runs and things like that. And I've noticed, whether as an organization we're doing it intentionally or not, we're almost doing the same thing to Trout, whether he knows it or not. Like, I think in the Yankee series, I don't know what he got. I think maybe it was like a double or something, or he got a run. I don't know. It was some type of achievement that he got. We lost the game. We still lost. So I'm just like, why? I understand recognizing accomplishments, I guess, but at the end of the day, what's that doing for the team? And that's my whole thing. Like, Trout is a great player. Again, I'm not going to take that away from him, but these accomplishments that he's getting are in losses, and it's just like, what, at the end of the day, what is that really doing for the Angels organization? And
T-shirts.
Yeah, t-shirts and bobbleheads. So that's and blankets. And so that's my issue, is that I hope we're not doing that. Maybe Trout, obviously I can't imagine that he's really going out there intentionally being like, man, fuck this team, and I'm gonna go get my, whatever hit.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I feel like we're almost setting him up for that. Like we're almost setting him up to be an Albert Pujols 2.0, where it's just about Mike Trout and potentially Shohei Ohtani if he stays with us, like just their two individual pat statting.
Difference though with Trout is he is our guy. Pujols was not our guy. They paid him to come here and get those accomplishments. Whole reason he came here in the first place, right? Get your accomplishments here. Get 500, 600, potentially 700 here. Obviously 700 didn't happen, but that was obviously the goal when they signed him.
Yeah.
Get your 3,000th hit here. Do that kind of stuff here. And, he did most of it here, but, he didn't love the game anymore, guys. He didn't love the game. The Dodgers rejuvenated his love in the game, not the team that paid him, $30 million for 10 years. Yeah, go screw yourself, bro.
All I know is that this has been a thing that, like Fernando says and Courtney has said, we need this guy to win. We need this guy to come up. So as bad as April's he had with runners in scoring position, he only has 13 RBIs. He should be where Renfroe's at right now or above that. And the fact that he's not right now, it's kind of, you can still say, well, he's got decent numbers. He's still batting 300. But again, we need him to come through in clutch situations because there's been a shit ton of runners left on base when he's up there, and he's struck out a lot. So if he starts making contact on this road series and he can get it together, then it's just going to help this team because, again, it's not the 5 for 9 from last year that are on this team that are slowing us down. They're actually keeping us afloat. So if you get your first 3 going, imagine what that lineup can do.
I have something to say. You mean we don't get extra runs for Trout hitting 110-mile-per-hour line drive right at somebody? We don't. The MLB doesn't give us like an extra 5 runs for the most 110 miles per hour ball it hit.
Unfortunately not.
I will say this about Trout. I'm extremely confident that Trout is going to have a good overall season. I am extremely confident that this second half of his season is going to be one of the best he's had in his career. He's still technically in his prime. He has not exited his prime yet. Next season will be a different situation. He'll be 32 next year?
Mm-hmm.
That's when most players start to slowly regress. So, I think Trout will be responsible for some big moments, some big clutch moments come the end of the year. And I do believe that he'll actually slowly start to grow a legend for himself this year. And I think that he'll single-handedly will the team to the playoffs come September. I can see a feasible avenue where 1 or 2 moves are made where this will be a playoff team. We've seen flashes of what they can do with Trout, let's be honest, sucking ass during this home stretch here. It was not a good 6 games for him. He is not performing. Yeah, he's batting 300. Great. Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's what you expect from Trout, but he's not driving in runs and the team is still winning and scoring. I mean, they scored over 35 runs this 4-game series against the Athletics.
Mm-hmm.
What was it? Now I'm curious.
Well,
I think it's just one of those things to keep in mind. Like we have the lineup to do it. And we've seen it. We've seen it this past 7 games. Even with Ohtani and Trout not being Ohtani and Trout
or Ward.
Yeah, or Ward, we were still able to pull off 2 home wins, like 2 home series wins.
Yep.
Granted, they were against weaker teams, but the fact that we are still able to do that because, of course, in the media and sometimes even some Angels fans, of course, we put the team on Trout and Ohtani's back. The media makes it sound like if Ohtani and Trout are not in the lineup that we suck. And I know that's not the case because we have other players. We have Ward, we have Renfroe, we have Two Fist Tony, we have a bunch of other people that can carry this lineup without, or with Trout going 0 for 4, or with Ohtani only going 1 for 4.
Yep.
So, and it was clear that we were able to do that.
Yeah, and it was 34 runs, so I was close.
There you go.
Oh,
I guess 35. So.
Well, the one game that the Angels won, I think they only had 1 RBI in this entire home season or home stretch was Trout, and he got that win over Kansas City where they hit the back-to-back-to-back. the 3 home runs in one game, Ward, Trout, and Ohtani. That was the anomaly series because without those 3 runs, I think they only got 1 run and 2 hits from the rest of that lineup. And that was the only game. The other what is it called? 6 games, the bottom of the order carried that lineup the entire way through. So with that being said, we got some tough matchups here. I want to get into that as we go on the road. I want to preview this Milwaukee and St. Louis series, get your guys' opinions on how they're going to do. Tyler Anderson versus Wade Miley. Wade Miley's probably one of the hottest Brewer pitchers. He's 3-1. Tyler Anderson's had 3 consecutive bad starts in a row, but he's still sporting a 1-0 record. Thoughts on this opener tomorrow?
Loss.
I'm going to go the Halo honk. I'm going to call it a win.
Oh, here it is.
I'm going to say Anderson pitches ineffective, but the bullpen and the lineup saves him.
Well, you know what? Just because you said that he's going to throw a no-hitter into the 8th inning. Since whatever Todd says about pitching tends to be the complete opposite.
Yeah.
In all fairness, like I said, I predicted wrong with Suarez. So,
I didn't know Wanker was in Milwaukee. Winker.
Yeah.
Sorry. I call him
Jesse
Wanker.
Winker?
Yes. Oh, do we get a rematch?
I don't know. I mean, now Rendon's doesn't have the cast. Does he have the balls to go head to, or actual fists, or
Does Rendon go straight to him?
Yeah.
I think so. I think he pushes him. I think Rendon starts it.
That'd be great.
Game 2 is a little interesting here. Corbin Burns, Mr. Disgruntled Brewers pitcher himself. He's sporting a 2-1 record, but doesn't have a sparkling ERA. There's been some inconsistencies, and he's going up against Reed Detmers, still looking for win number 1. He's 0-1, but he's pitched good and had a couple blowpen losses where he did not factor in the game. So what do you got for this one?
Win. Detmers gets it done.
Yeah, close.
Close loss. Do you blame Detmers? Will it be like a Detmers loss, or will it be a bullpen loss? A blowpen.
Oh, that blowpen, man. That blowpen loss.
Ooh, a Buttercup loss.
Yep.
She's calling Buttercup. I'm calling also a Buttercup in this one.
Oh.
I think the Angels leave. Detmers leaves with a lead, and then the bullpen gives it up.
Man, we're all going to be at Courtney's house eating sad cupcakes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Or what is it called? Thrifty ice creams with holes in the middle.
Oh man, that sounds good. I love thrifty ice cream.
With holes in the middle?
Like a drilled hole through the top. I'm sorry.
No.
Even no.
That'll leave us to Milwaukee's third game right there. The Angels are going to be going up against Kyler Ray. No, not really, but Ray from the Milwaukee Brewers. He's 0-1. He has a 6.67 ERA. He's going to get up against Suarez, who has a Star Wars-like ERA way high up in the galaxy. He's 0-1. So this could be batting practice right here. What do you guys got for this one?
I think Jose Suarez gives us some emotional damage. Loss.
Oh, wow.
Break out the brooms. We're getting swept.
The sweep.
Oh, God. We do need to get Courtney off the network.
Oh, wow.
We're getting
A
swept.
sweep, man.
Well, I'm pulling out
Brooms.
my honk.
Why are you like this?
The 2 worst pitchers on our staff currently are going to get us the W's in this one. I think Suarez somehow ekes out a victory as our offense puts up a lot of runs in this game.
You hear that, man? Jose Suarez is going to give up 26 runs.
Yeah, dude, they're going to be teeing off.
This man's cooked.
How do you have this much faith in this man and this organization?
Because he hasn't been El demoted yet. He's still El Demente.
Yeah, El DFA'd.
Yeah, he's getting real close.
Yeah. Let me justify this by also saying I think this is going to be a 600 road trip. I think we're going to win the series against the Cardinals. I don't know what the probable pitchers are yet for the entire series, but it's going to be Shohei Ohtani is going to be one of them in theory. Patrick Sandoval is going to be in there.
Yeah, so far it looks like Shohei will pitch in the finale. It's to be determined for St. Louis, but St. Louis will be throwing they'll be throwing Steven Matz, who's 0-3 with a 10 ERA, and he's going to go opposed by Griffin Canning. And then Sandoval's going to take on Mikolas in game 2.
Yep. Give me
Oh.
2 out of 3. Bang, bang.
Yeah, 2 out of 3. I
Oh.
like.
There you go. So Courtney and I, well, actually, no, Courtney's predicting a sweep. So Todd's predicting us 2 back-to-back series wins.
2 back-to-back Rally Chris specials.
Man, yeah, this guy's honk really is showing.
Jesus, you
Yeah.
just. Mm-mm.
I'm
He's
hungry.
delusional.
I'm hungry and I'm scared. Let's just put it to you that way.
So I was gonna say, didn't you just eat dinner during the draft?
I'm still hungry.
That's fair. And scared. I'm scared.
I'm
Very
scared.
scared. And I'm gonna be on TikTok messaging the opposite.
No, no, that's how you trigger Fernando. When Fernando goes in the DMs and it's just women getting waved at, I'm like, no, I didn't do that.
We need to be kinder to women on this network, please, because we have a couple of men that like to harass.
Shut up, Courtney.
Stay in your lane, Courtney.
Yeah, I remember when Swilly was on the network and she used to always pitch this false narrative that Fernando hated women. I was like, yeah, the guy who's always pitching to have women on the network is the guy who secretly hates women.
Never.
Yeah, that's how it is. That's how it is. I hate women. Always have.
Boy, you have had a rough year, Fernando.
I really have. That's true. Hey, it's all right. Today it culminated into an endpoint.
There you go.
I won't release my life story. People don't care. You care, you can message me. You guys know where to find me.
Exactly. All right. Well, you guys got anything else?
No. Todd showed us his honks all day.
Yeah.
Yeah, all night, all day. That was great.
All kinds of honks, man. Well, two out of 3 both times, man.
Ton
Oh,
of
man.
honks.
Oh no, this is not.
Yeah,
No.
Courtney keeps spewing her venom in every direction. We're gonna lose. We're gonna get swept by the Brewers.
Yep. You're gonna see me. I'm gonna bring a broom next time. If we get swept, and the next time we do this podcast, I'm gonna sit here with my broom because that's
Like the farmer in that, like the white guy farmer with
Yeah.
like his old wife. You
Yes.
guys know which photo I'm talking
The
about, right?
pitchfork one.
yes.
Yeah, the Pittsburgh
like the
one, but it's gonna be
Pittsburgh one.
Courtney with the broom.
There
Yeah,
you go.
And
exactly.
do you own overalls?
I do.
There you go. She can reenact the entire photo.
That's the white
Yeah.
side of her.
I know it is. That's my white side coming out. I have overalls, guys.
I cannot tell you the last time I owned a pair of overalls. It's definitely grade school, but I want to say probably like 6 or 7 kind of grade school.
You're in
That's
the right.
cute.
You're in the right state to get a new pair.
Yeah, you're in the right state to get.
Yeah, let me head on over to the Tractor Supply Company.
I gotta get.
Oh.
I gotta get him some overalls and a jug with XXX on it. So
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
no.
Go to Atwood's.
I need
That's
to see
a
Fernando
store
dressed up like Coach. Who is that? Coach Fran from Waterboy, like the crazy one with the
Oh.
overalls.
yeah.
Like, I need Fernando to dress up like that.
Well, we could think of a wager or something.
Yeah, he needs to talk like this. Hey, Nevada, we need to have a Fernando.
There you go.
Yes, please.
Yeah. He could be twisting his nipples when Trout hits one into the bleachers.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
Just like Waterboy.
Oh, my Trout.
Oh, oh no.
Hey, James, play that soundbite again.
Oh, no.
James, my name's Mandy. James.
Oh, it gets old. All right, guys. Well, that's been the Halos in the Infield podcast. If you're still on this long, well, there you go. Congratulations. You made it this far. So with that being said, for everyone here on the show and 714 Tickets, our sponsor, be sure to check us out whenever we are on and give us a like and subscribe and hit that notification bell.
Yeah, because we just lost 1,000 subscribers after this episode.
Yes.
The
So for Todd Fox
Lone Star Halo Fernando.
and
And the trash halo, Courtney.
have a good night.